Alrighty, we are getting ready to get started here. It's 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, July 20th, and I'll turn it over to Dana Henke for presiding over the Board of Public Works meeting this evening.
Thank you. I will call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this July 20th, 2021. First up, we have messages from the board. Any messages from the board tonight? Okay. Next up is petitions and remonstrances. This is an opportunity for any public comment on items that are not on the agenda tonight. Does anyone have any public comment that is not related to anything on the agenda tonight? You could enter into the chat feature or raise your hand.
I do see we have a guest listed, and I don't know if they're related. Jellyfish, I'm not sure if that's regarding the removal of the Pride Fest agenda item from tonight, but if you wanted to make any public comment to the board this evening regarding that, you're welcome to at this time. I don't see any indication that they'd like to make comment right now. If we need to circle back to that, we can.
Okay. All right, moving on. We have Title 6 enforcement. First up is the abatement at West 11th Street.
Got Chestina, if you'd like to go ahead and present.
Okay, West 11th is a vacant lot that has not been mowed all season, and I've issued tickets and with no reply, no mail back or anything. So I'm asking for abatement of the property for the overgrowth of grass.
Thank you. And this is a continuous abatement, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. Any questions from the board on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the abatement at West 11th Street.
And I second, and I'll call for a vote. Kyla Cox Deckard.
Yes.
Dana Henke, yes. Motion passes. Next up is the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, we have the approval of minutes from July 7th, 2021. Resolution 2021-28, the use of the public right-of-way for the 10th birthday celebration of New Hope for Family Shelter. Resolution 2021-34, use of the public right-of-way for Blue Ridge Neighborhood Picnic. Resolution 2021-35, renewal of a mobile vendor in the public right-of-way for Big Cheese. Resolution 2021-36, renewal of mobile vendor in public right-of-way for Doner Kebab. Addendum number 1 to the contract with CE Solutions. Addendum number 1 to contract with New Group, and the approval of payroll. Anything need to be removed from the consent agenda tonight?
No, and I'll just make note that we did remove Pride Fest from the consent agenda this evening after consultation with other city staff and hearing from other Kirkwood businesses about some of the restaurant seating and the impacts on that. So we're circling back with the organizers of Pride Fest and with the Kirkwood Community Association to try to come up with some compromise and solutions that work for all parties, and confident we'll be able to do that over the next couple days and bring that back to the board at their next meeting for an approval then.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board on the consent agenda? Any public comment on the consent agenda?
And again, if anyone would like to make public comment, please use the raise hand feature of the of Zoom, or type in the chat that you'd like to make a comment, or type your actual comment into the chat. So there's 3 ways to offer your comment if you'd like. I'm not seeing anything come through on any of those, Dana.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
And I second. I'll call for a vote. Kyla Cox Deckard.
Yes.
Dana Henke, yes. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First is the lane and sidewalk closure request for the north lane of Atwater Avenue from Browning Chapman.
Yes, hi, my name is Karina. I'm with the engineering department and I've been working with Browning Chapman for a right-of-way use permit request. Boston Fields is the project manager and he is present to answer any questions. The request entails closing the northern lane on Atwater Avenue from Henderson to Fess. And in order to facilitate repair of sealant in the IU Henderson parking garage. So there will need to be a lift parked in the northern lane, which will also mean that the northern sidewalk will be closed. And the request is for August 9th through August 22nd. So that's a 13-day closure. And Browning Chapman will be sending out letters to notify adjacent property owners.
Thank you. Any questions on this item from the board?
I just wanted to clarify the dates because the dates in the report, the staff report, were different from the dates included in the forms and the documents. It had an earlier end date, earlier in August. And I was just wondering because it will coincide with move-in and some traffic associated with that probably in that area. So just wondering what the accurate date is.
We were initially asking to do it earlier when I initially applied with the engineering department. In June, we were asking to start the 12th, but there was some delays and when I heard back. So the reason we moved it out this far was just to give the board and anyone involved in the city some time to make this request happen. But we're certainly able to move it up sooner if need be. So if that's something that you would prefer, we can make that happen.
I'll jump in here. This is Adam Wason, Public Works Director. I think, Boston is just continue working with Karina and your IU contacts. But as soon as the board approves this, I would say you're free to move forward as quickly as possible to get in and out as quickly as possible, as long as your IU contacts are good with that as well.
Yeah, that would be great. And another reason that we pushed it back to the 9th was I didn't know how important it was for adjacent property owners to be able to attend a meeting. And I know that because we haven't sent the letters out yet, that the next meeting is the 3rd. So that's another reason we pushed it back. But if that's not something that absolutely has to happen, then no problem with us.
And your adjacent property owners here are south on Henderson. Is that where we were? Yeah. Mm-hmm. At this point in time, given the lack of commercial around there and actual residential, there's no one really on that block with you. So I think again, sure. let's kind of get the word out, but then let's kind of move it as quickly as possible.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, and typically, I think we try to have at least some notice out before this meeting in particular, just so we're aware of if there's any feedback or they have an opportunity to come and let us know why there might be an issue. But so that's what we usually do. So just moving forward, we'll probably want to do that next time. But so it seems like as soon as if and when this gets approved tonight, you could start. How long do you expect the total amount of time? Doesn't have to be date, but a couple weeks or
basically
days?
It's just going to be 2 weeks from when we start.
Okay, thank you. Oh, can you state your name for the record and who you're with?
My name is Boston Fields and I'm with Browning Chapman.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, any public comment tonight on this item? I don't see any. Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the lane and sidewalk closure request for the north lane of Atwater Avenue from Browning Chapman, and that is approved through August 22nd of 2021 with the hopes that it can wrap up quicker if all partners are accepting of that.
Great. A second. And Kyla Cox Deckard,
Yes.
Dana Henke, yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Next up is the dedication of the right-of-way at 1600 West Fountain.
Hi, this is Emily Herr with the engineering department. This property, 1600 West Fountain Drive, owned by Comcast, received a rezoning request approval by the Common Council and Plan Commission in 2021. With this approval, they were required to dedicate right-of-way along West Fountain Drive, and that is in the attached dedication of public right-of-way and exhibits A and B following the staff report. The city is also in the process of installing a multi-use path along the north side of Fountain Drive, and the petitioner is working with the city on making a financial contribution equal to the cost of the multi-use path.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Any public comment on this item? Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the dedication of right-of-way at 1600 West Fountain.
And I second. Call for a vote. Kyla Cox Deckard,
Yes.
Dana Henke, yes. Motion passes. Next is change orders number 1 and 2 for the 14th Street Sidewalk Project.
Good evening, everyone. This is Russell White with the City of Bloomington Engineering Department. This project was awarded on November 24th of last year to Milestone Contractors. A notice to proceed was issued on or about January of this year. Work began February 22nd. At this point, this project is completed, and these 2 change orders are just closing out the project. But the project included the installation of a new sidewalk on the north side of West 14th Street from North Madison to North Woodburn Avenue, and included some storm sewer work. The original contract amount for this project was $194,658.75. Change order number 1 is required due to the need to replace a sanitary sewer lateral that was in conflict with the storm sewer. We knew it existed, but we didn't know the exact elevation. Unfortunately, they both tried to occupy the same space, so we had to get the sewer lateral replaced. So that's what change order number 1 is for. If approved, that this change order would result in an increase in the contract of $3,606.78. Change order number 2 is required to balance out the final contract amount. There are always overruns or underruns depending on what's going on with different pay items, and this will equal all of those out and get the contract amount to be exactly what was put in place. If approved, this change order would result in an increase of $431.42. So change orders number 1 and number 2 would result in an overall increase of $4,038.20 and make the final adjusted contract amount $198,696.95. We'll gladly answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Any questions on this from the board? Any public comment?
I don't see anyone.
Thanks. Do we have a motion?
I move approval for change orders number 1 and number 2 for the 14th Street Sidewalk Project.
And I second, and I'll call for a vote. Kyla Cox Deckard,
Yes.
Dana Henke, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. And next up is change order number 1 to the Recover Forward 6th Street Sidewalk Project with Rivertown Construction.
All righty, Adam Wason, Public Works, just here to represent Michael Large on this one. This is a closeout change order for the Recover Forward sidewalk projects on West 6th, the North Elm Street. replacing about, I think it was almost 300 feet of, no, almost 600 total feet of sidewalk in these areas, as well as curb, ramps, driveway cuts, and others. Again, this is a closeout change order to write the materials and labor that were used in the project. This change order is for $12,009.09 for a total adjusted contract amount of $261,259.09. And seeking your approval for this, and we'll close out the project.
Thank you. Any questions on this item from the board? Any public comment on the item? Seeing none. Do we have a motion?
I move approval of change order number 1 to the Recover Forward 6th Street Sidewalk Project with Rivertown Construction.
And I second. And call for a vote. Kyla Cox Deckard,
Yes.
Dana Hankey, yes. Motion passes. Next is staff reports and other business.
Adam Wason again, Public Works Director. I mentioned the removal of Pride Fest from the consent agenda this evening. Just want to follow up real quickly to say we're meeting with Public Safety tomorrow. In the end, it comes down to we didn't realize I didn't realize that the expectation was that all of the outdoor restaurant seating would need to be removed for Pride Fest in order to accommodate all of their locations. And we heard back from several of the restaurants in advance of today's meeting, as well as the Kirkwood Community Association saying, hey, can we talk about this? And it was a frustration to Pride for sure. And I understand that it's late in the game. They're trying to get a festival started, organized by the end of August. But we really need to come to some compromise and some agreement here with everyone, and want Pride to have a wonderfully successful program that day, but also need to make sure that we're all working together. I'll even admit that I had an inbox message or a message in my drafts outbox that was supposed to be going to economic and sustainable development staff back in early June that said, how are we accommodating the restaurants? And quite honestly, it sat there in my draft box and didn't get sent. And so it's coming up late, but we're going to get this figured out, and we'll all work together to make sure that happens. Other than that, I don't have anything else to report this evening.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for working on that.
Yep.
Okay, next up is approval of claims. Any questions on claims from the board? Okay. Any public comment on claims? Don't see any. Do we have a motion on claims?
I move approval of claims in the amount of $1,685,956.99.
And I second. And for a vote, Kyla Cox Deckard,
Yes.
Dana Hankey, yes. Motion passes. And I'll call for adjournment.
All right. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Thanks.